In today's video, I'm going to be going over one of my favorite indicators. It's called the VPVR, or Volume Profile Visible Range. This indicator will essentially plot a histogram on your chart which reveals dominant and significant price levels based on volume. It will give you a clear indication of supply and demand at a certain price rather than volume, which works at a certain time period on the bottom of the chart down here. Now, if that doesn't make any sense to you so far, no worries, I'm going to explain that in great detail throughout this video. I'll walk you through how to add the indicator to your chart, how to properly set it up, what settings you might need to change on the indicator, and explain to you what the indicator actually means once it's on your chart. Finally, I'll go over some examples of how to actually use the indicator to predict the next major moves in the market and where our price is going to stall at next. So if you're just trying to learn about this indicator, or maybe you've never heard about it before but you're looking to add something to your toolbox, then you're definitely in the right place with this video. So stay tuned, and as always, ask any questions in the comments below after you watch the video. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So I have TradingView open here, and this is the platform I use to do all of my charting. If you have never tried out TradingView, I would definitely recommend you do so. Now, to add VPVR on TradingView, you actually do have to have a premium account. You do have to pay for TradingView. If you just want to try it out, you can get usually a 1 or 2 month trial on TradingView before you actually have to pay. However, if you're serious about trading and you do want to get into day trading and being successful, I would recommend TradingView and getting a paid plan as well. I've personally been using TradingView for over 4 years now on a premium plan, and I absolutely love everything about the software. But I'll leave that choice up to you. So on TradingView here, in order to add the indicator to your chart, you're simply going to go up to indicators on the top up here, click on volume profile, and then you're going to click on visible range. And then right when you add this to your chart, it's going to look just like this, where you have huge blue and yellow bars on the right hand side here, and this is the indicator. You can also see a red line that goes through your chart as a result of the indicator. Now, one thing you'll notice is that these bars are super thick on the right hand side here. They make a price range, for example, from about $6,200 to $7,200 on just this one bar right here, or $1,000. We want to make sure that it's actually going to be a precise thing that we're looking at. So just before we get started diving into what the indicator is actually telling you, let's open up the settings of the indicator, go into inputs, and change the row size to 200. Now, once you do that, you can see the bars get extremely thinner, and this will help us with precision moving forward. So now let's explain what the indicator actually is. You can see that there are both yellow and blue bars on the right hand side of the screen here. The yellow essentially represents bearish volume and the blue represents bullish volume. Now, personally, when I use this indicator, I don't really care which direction the volume is. I just want to know where there's a lot of volume. So to really simplify this on my eyes, I'm actually going to change one more thing in the settings here, and I'm going to change the two colors for value area up and value area down. Personally, I like to have them as a gray color right here, and I'm going to make them the same exact gray. So let's go ahead and do that, change them both to that same gray, and then we need to change the up volume and down volume as well. Again, I'll go with the same gray on these, and now you can see that on the right hand side here, it's all gray. I don't really care about the colors, so that's perfect for me. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there's one other thing, and it's this red line right here, and it's called the point of control. This is basically just the highest volume spot. And you can see, if we look at it, that it's just where the volume is the absolute peak right here. So this is our highest volume price level. You can leave that on your chart if you want to, or you can just see it visually when you're looking at it that you know this is actually the highest spot. So this one is up to you. I'll leave it on my chart for now. The only other key thing to note with this indicator, before I actually explain what it is and show you examples of that, is that it highly depends on how zoomed out you are on the chart. So if you zoom more in, this indicator is going to reset because it only uses the visible range, hence the name Volume Profile Visible Range. Only the candles that you can visibly see on your chart are affecting this indicator. So as you zoom in and zoom out, it's going to readjust pretty significantly. So as you're using it, you need to understand how much price action you're looking at based on how long of a trade you want to be in. If you're using the daily chart like I am and zoomed out over a 4-year period, it's probably going to be significant for a long time moving forward. And on the daily chart is definitely my favorite time frame to use this indicator, but it will work on any time frame regardless of what you're doing. You just have to be conscious of whatever time frame you choose. Okay, so now I've given you all this information about the indicator, but let me actually tell you what it does and how we can use it. If you've ever used volume on the bottom of your chart, this indicator has a very similar concept to it. The volume on the bottom down here is related to time. It tells you how much volume occurs at each day over however long of a period that you're zoomed out. So for example, you can see that volume increases significantly right into here, meaning that on June 28th, we had an extreme amount of volume. Flipping over to the indicator, this is just giving you volume at certain price levels. So we can see that with our point of control, or just visibly because it's the highest bar, that at this $9,200 price right into here, this is where we have the most buyers and sellers. Whenever price hits this level, this is where we have the highest volume. So how can we actually use that to our advantage? Well, basically these high and low volume spots in our chart are essentially just built in and given support and resistance lines. Instead of trying to identify these lines ourselves by looking at peaks and valleys in the market, we can simply use the VPVR and look at the peaks and lows of volume. We know that wherever there's a high amount of volume, there's also a high amount of buyers and sellers. So these are key spots in the market where we're going to pivot from. The other way to use this indicator is to know that when we're leaving the areas of high volume and going into the areas of lower volume, there's not a lot of buyers and sellers in those low areas of volume. In other words, as price is moving through those low peaks in the chart, there's not going to be many people that are trying to stop the price at those levels. The volume is low historically, so it's not a huge support and resistance area. So the general idea behind using this indicator is to trade between these high nodes of volume. Once we're leaving an area of high volume and going into an area of low volume, we can expect price to quickly move back to one of those high areas of volume once again. And on the flip side, as we're trying to leave these high areas of volume, it's going to be resistance because not a lot of buyers are going to be in that area either. So it's going to be hard to push price upwards or downwards through the high areas and into the low areas. So let's see what that looks like in our chart right now. So let's start off by looking at our VPVR on the right-hand side right here. We can see that we have decently high volume all throughout this entire area really. We definitely have some huge peaks inside of it, but this area for the most part contains a lot of our volume, between about $6,000 and $12,000. So if we just pull this box sideways, you can see that definitely makes sense with the chart right here. We hovered inside of this box for an extremely long period of time, from the beginning of May 2019 all the way through the end of 2020 into here. Now the first time we tried to break out of this box and into the lower volume nodes back here in June of 2019, we did get a couple wicks through, but we quickly fell backwards into that zone of strong volume. And you can even see that our highest wick up here in June 2019, if we just draw a horizontal line at it, you can see that there's another small cluster of volume nodes right into here. So from about 12,900 up to 13,900, we do have a little bit of a cluster into here. And after that, the volume drops off pretty significantly up until about this $15,300 range. So price rejected at the top of our high volume node into here before it ended up moving into the low spot again. Now, if we were to have broken through this spot right here, we could have expected price to come up to that next zone into here, around 15,300. But since we rejected and came back down, we were looking for the next breakout of this huge box of price action. The next time we left this box was down into here. And you can see that the price fell below this box pretty strongly once we left it. Now, just looking at VPVR once again on the right-hand side right here, you can see that our next high volume spot is inside of these two bars right here. And again, I'm pulling a horizontal rectangle sideways through here. You can see that we're capturing these two high volume spots right here. And in between our two boxes, we kind of have pretty low volume into here relative to this zone and this zone. And you can see right where price fell. We wicked right inside of this zone where the high volume node actually was before bouncing back up very quickly into this zone once again. So you could have easily taken a short below this box once we had this breakout starting and had a price target into this one simply by using VPVR. So now the next spot that we broke out of this box over here in October 2020, of course, started our major run. Once we left this box of high volume, we did end up stalling at the same spot as this previous run here, which is our other little cluster of volume in here. Of course, it's way smaller than this box into here, but it is significantly more than the price action leading up to it through here. So we resisted that spot, but then did end up pushing through. We hovered again inside of the next little zone of volume right through here. Before the next breakout of that, we pushed upwards once again into our next zone of volume on VPVR. Came up into this box before falling quickly back down into this one on this couple candles through here, back up inside of this box, and when we broke that, it was pretty much game over for Bitcoin. There was no VPVR at this point in time when we broke this because we were running from all-time highs. So this would have, of course, been an awesome trade to take as a breakout of the final VPVR box that we have into here. So I've showed you this example on Bitcoin right here, but you can actually use this on every single asset, regardless of what you're trading, whether it's Forex, crypto, futures, stocks, options, anything, you name it. VPVR is one of my favorite indicators to keep on my chart at all times and definitely pay huge attention to. So that's pretty much it with this indicator. Now, real quick, if you like this video and want to see more, please do me a huge favor and click that subscribe and like buttons below. This helps me out a ton and I appreciate your support more than I can explain. And lastly, if you want to trade stocks, options, crypto, Forex, futures, or anything with me and hundreds of other people, check out the link to my Discord in the description below. So with that, I hope you learned a lot about this indicator and I hope you can add it to your toolbox because honestly, I think it's one of the best indicators out there and it's pretty much the only one that I use. So thank you so much for watching and as always, good luck trading.